invitation. Merci pour l'invitation d'être ici avec.
Thank you for the invitation to be with you here today.
To prepare my remarks, I was struck by the unique challenge that faces the hotel sector and indeed this committee and the federal government. We face a balancing act. On the positive side, we have hope and a potential recovery on the horizon with vaccines underway, which could lead to a possible domestic tourism recovery for some segments, such as resorts this summer. On the negative, and frankly more realistic side, we don't get all Canadians vaccinated by the summer. We have a third wave of the virus. People are encouraged to stay home. Domestic and international borders stay closed, and mass gathering bans remain in place. So we enter COVID year 2, having lost the most important season for our industry once again. Let me first address the positive summer scenario and what government action will be required. If we get most Canadians vaccinated by June, the government must pivot quickly, all levels of government, to allow for a safe reopening and invest in stimulating our recovery to maximize the summer tourism season. This should include implementing best practices from other countries who have successfully reopened before us, breaking down provincial barriers to travel, stimulating domestic demand and confidence by providing tax incentives or rebates to people to spend their dollars in Canada, investing in domestic marketing campaigns, and aligning with the US Biden administration on an expedited Canada-US border reopen. In the second scenario, the worst case, where restrictions are still necessary and remain in place for the summer, the government will need to provide financial support for the tourism and hospitality sectors until a recovery is possible. I unfortunately believe that the worst case is the likely case. While most other sectors bounce back the day after lockdowns are lifted, we do not. Nobody books a trip the next day. Travel takes lead time. Event planning takes lead time. And those events are what drive the movement of people and the core of our business. Festivals, fairs, concerts, theater shows, weddings, major sporting events, conventions. None of these are planned for the summer or fall and are probably not likely until the spring. We are asking for what Mark Carney called for in his new book. Support for companies should be targeted at regenerating the most affected industries rather than provided as an expensive blanket support for all. It is time for the government to tailor Qs and CERS towards those that need it most. In this worst case scenario, we are looking for two things in the federal budget. Wage subsidy extension until the end of 2021 for the hardest hit sectors, and an extension and expansion of the CERS program to help cover fixed costs until the end of 2021, while we are not in a position to make revenue. Today, this program is woefully inadequate. It cuts out the M from SMEs with the monthly caps. It does not cover enough eligible expenses, and it fails to account for the rising business costs like insurance, which has skyrocketed in our sector since COVID. Our member survey from March showed that 70% of Canadian hotels will go out of business without an extension of CERS and Qs until the end of the year. This is massive scale loss, and it is upon us. Simply put, if the government doesn't extend these programs past June and tailor them to the sectors that need them most, we will lose the majority of the hotel industry. The government deserves credit for rolling out these programs quickly and for providing tailored debt solutions to the hardest hit. These programs are the reason we still have an industry standing today. But now is not the time to pull away from the sectors that will lag behind for no fault of their own. The anchor businesses in the travel industry, including hotels, need to be preserved. Hotels support essential travel. They are the cornerstone of tourism regions. They allow Canada to compete for global events. They host our country's hockey tournaments and weddings. And they will not be there if the government does not plan adequately for both scenarios. We need a clear signal in the budget that the government acknowledges our unique challenges and will stand behind us until recovery is possible.